There we
So
go.
good morning, everybody. Tuesday morning, Freedom Team Mastermind. Every Tuesday, we do this open to everybody, all agents, all companies. If you ever have a guest you want to invite, feel free to invite them. As you know, if you've been on here, we don't talk about EXP. It's not an EXP thing. This is just open to everybody. So good production stuff. These have been so good. I was sharing last week. I've shared it a couple times now, with because Kathy and I kind of lead this on Tuesdays, it forces me to be here every week, which being in the business 21 years, it'd be one of those easy things for me to just like, oh, I don't need that and blow it off. And I've picked up more stuff in the last 6 to 8 months, new stuff that I've never thought about, never tried. I know my wife and I right now, she's working with a buyer, looking up to 1.2 million right now. We got 4 listings on the market right now that have all come from things we've picked up on these Tuesday morning mastermind. So it's been so good for us. It really has. So anyway, this morning we're going to talk about technology and how to leverage that, how to maximize that. And Jessica Nieto, am I saying your name right, Jessica? Your last name? Did I
It's
say that right?
Nieto, but
Yeah,
close.
Nieto. There you go, Jessica Nieto. So anyway, 4-time ICON agent here at EXP, which is the highest level you can hit as far as your production and stuff. Been in the business for 10 years. We were talking about that before she got on here. Real Trends named her the #4 small team in California. In 2022, she won EXP Realty's, Chairman's Excellence Award, the Triple Diamond Award. So that's big. 240 deals in 2021, $142 million in volume. So, geez, Jessica, slow down. Let us catch up. You're
Well,
leave some
thank
business
you
for the
for
rest
that.
of us.
Yeah, I'm so honored that you. Yeah, there's plenty out there for all of us. That's the
There
great part.
is. There is.
That blew my
So,
mind, saying that the 4 deals that you've got listed came from little nuggets.
well,
That's
just
how I
things we
grow.
picked up on here. It's just, again, I think that's the value of this is when you get people from all over the country and everybody's doing different things. You get big agents like you, and you've done things that I haven't done, and probably vice versa to some degree. And when we all work together, man, we can just, we can really make this thing hum, and I think get through a market like this. I mean, this is challenging. You're going to see a lot of people having to pick up part-time jobs on the side or even full-time jobs, and newer agents from the last couple of years that just aren't plugging into things because they go into panic mode. And I think there's plenty of business out there. We just got to figure out again, like how to maximize things. And I know you've done different trainings. This one here I'm looking forward to technology. So let me take it over. I'll pass it over to you. It's all yours. Take it. You can share your screen, and
Awesome.
however you want to do it. We can write our questions in the chat if we have them, or we can add, if you have it along the way, you want to let us ask questions, however you want to work it. It's your
We're
deal.
gonna make it. Yeah, we're gonna make it fun. Some groups I love to train, big groups, small groups. My favorite though is a group like this size, because rather than me training you and talking at you, we can talk to each other. So we'll make it fun. For any of you that don't know me, I'm Jessica Nieto. Thanks for the great introduction. Was invited to come and hang out with you guys for a bit this morning. So I'm excited, guys and gals. So I love to train on all things optimization. For me, the optimization of time is the thing that all real estate agents want to talk about. How do I get my time back? Oh, I wish I had more time. I wish I could spend my time doing other things, etc. So I like to say it's the holistic approach of the optimization of your energy, the knowledge around us, right? These nuggets that you're going to take and the implementation of them, the technology, of course, being our silent partner in success, and then our relationships, which is the foundation of success in this business. And if we get all of those rocking, then we start to get time back. So today we're going to talk about technology. I don't know if everyone here is at EXP, but it's brand agnostic. All real estate companies have access to great technology. We're not going to talk about anything specific to EXP tools. So these are all tools accessible to anyone. First thing is I'd like to share a little bit. You did a great introduction. So I'm going to try to share my screen though, so we can have some visuals to what I'm talking about. I'd love if y'all just want to jump in and interrupt me at any time or interject with a question. Please do. Can you all see that screen there?
Yep, we're good.
Yep. Okay, cool. Let me make sure I've got the right deal here. All right, so Oh, all the technology. Isn't that always the irony there? Here we go. All righty. All right, little slide deck I put together. I talked about this. I think that the top thing that isn't on here is that when you do 240 deals, you don't do it by yourself, right? But I will tell you, it has been my business partner. We've been working together for 10 years. One full-time admin and one full-time TC. We did all of that production by ourselves, technology and that team. So we do have a couple other team leads, but that's my personal production. So today we're just going to cover why is it important. I mean, you all are probably brilliant people that could teach me a lot of things. So that's why I want to keep it engaging today. But we want to talk about the importance of technology, strategies you can implement right now, what to do first. And then, of course, you've got to measure it and refine it as you go along in the process. Obviously, if you're not leveraging technology, we could get stuck. Sometimes we don't notice our stuck, right? It could be, I've got to get one more listing. I want to buy that first rental property this year. And you keep putting those things off. And the way I know you could get your time back and have more time to focus on those passion projects is to implement some strategies with technology. So, and less manual work. I have the rule of 3. If I have to do it 3 times and it bothers me all 3 times, I find a way to leverage it or not do it anymore. I spoil myself, I like to say. So many ways that this conversation could go. I'd love to get a little feedback from the audience here and everyone in the room is what the number one interesting thing to talk about today would be for you. I did put together a lot more stuff to present in terms of listings and some automation for administrative transactional tasks, but we could go different directions. Does anyone have a specific topic that pops up on here that is most interesting to you?
Passive prospecting looks good.
Yeah, awesome. I like that, Kevin. Anyone else? Cool. We'll make sure we touch on that for sure.
Hey, Jessica, I've got a couple of them. Automations for admin. I like that. I like what Paul said, listing presentation.
Cool.
Those type of just some of the things in there would really help, I think, in building a business. I like that.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about this only for a second then, or actually, I want to focus on this first simply because the more you get some processes and transactional tasks automated, even if you're only doing one listing, how many people in this room have heard an agent that they work with on their team or another agent that maybe you mentor that has gotten the one listing and then they get
We're all moving. I can see you all moving.
You freeze up.
Yeah, she's frozen. Let me see if I can. Let me text her. What happened there?
This is technology at work.
Technology.
There you go. We'll bring her back in. Kathy can take over. Technology, Kathy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the queen.
I will say, I mean, there's so many good things. I don't know if you guys have watched Aaron Kins. He did 2 hours last week. We flew him in here to Colorado Springs, and then we streamed it live Wednesday. We posted it, I think Wednesday as well. But he did that 4-part series on listings and how he handles all of his listing, inventory and gets more listings, all that stuff. We did that 4-part series. He came up here and did 2 hours. Now probably the last half hour was stuff that he had done for all of us before, but the first hour and a half, a big chunk of it was new, and he dove in. We're going to get him to come on and do a couple other things for us, but some of the things that I've picked up from him, definitely is what's kind of kicked in for me. HomeBot, if you haven't used HomeBot, I don't know if you guys have. Do you use HomeBot, Sean?
100% I do.
Yeah. HomeBot is awesome. But, even that my wife and I, we use it, but, he sat down with her here on the computer and like just things that we haven't implemented with it, just little things, and So just, constant little tweaks, his Google business page, that's what I want to bring him in to really do a full on hour for us. Like, cause and it was surprising to him. He ran the numbers, like just putting this presentation together last week. Here she's coming back in, putting that presentation together for us last week. He added up all his numbers, and with some of the stuff that he's been doing to capture leads and different things, it's like, he's done well over, probably $1.5 million in commissions just in the last 5 or 6 years from the stuff that he taught us. And so a lot of it's free. The most he spends is like $200 a month on something as far as, generating business. So anyway, really, really good. Jessica, you froze up. We lost you there.
So I actually lost internet. Apparently they're working on the internet, but I have a backup.
Uh-oh.
That backup.
Mhm, mhm.
See how we do here.
What is her market area? Do you know where she is in California?
Am I back?
Is she
Yeah.
back? There you
I
are.
am so sorry about this. If it continues, I guess we're having trouble. So I'm in Southern California. So I live in
Okay.
Carlsbad and primarily sell in Los Angeles and San Fernando Valley, Inland Empire, licensed in Washington and Oregon. Not doing a ton there, but launched a little satellite teams. So
All right. Well, we could run
hopefully-
into each other then. That's good because that's where I am.
Oh, cool. Oh, I see you're in the Valley area. Perfect. Well, you'll see my listing inventory.
Okay, I will look
So
you up.
hopefully we don't have any trouble. I do apologize, but
good.
it seems like we've got a connection now. So I'm going to share my screen here. If you want to add me back onto the,
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
the sharing permission.
Yep,
Thanks
yep.
so much.
My bad here. Hold on. Make co-host.
So yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about processes and transactional tasks. I think it's the number one place to start. Some people might say or argue that and both could be right, but some people might say, hey, start with, focusing on your lead gen. Obviously that's important. But if you're constantly being distracted and diverted by your processes and transactional tasks, I think that it's hard to really stay focused on those projects to get your lead gen stuff rocking. So let me share this guy. There we go. So reverse engineering, who here is a fan of reverse engineering in their business? I'm not going to read through all this. I'm happy to send you this slide deck, but it's a great way to train. This is how I help a lot of agents just kind of get their head straight on a path of what the steps are to take, right? So identifying, of course, the pain point, again, something that's bothering you that you don't enjoy doing, and not so much just for you, but also your admin team. I've got an example in here where, if you've got 20 listings a month and you're paying your admin person $20 or say $25 an hour, essentially, if it's taking them 15 minutes to do a listing agreement, that's costing you over $100 a month. So that's a no thank you to me. So, what I've done is not to micromanage people, but to really understand what your team does. I do actually create a video library using Loom, and I'll record myself doing every task that my admin team is trained to do. So I have a video library of how to do the tasks that I can provide to someone else. And within those videos, that's where I'll actually record and document how long it takes to do the task, and then set up little Zapiers or whatever it is, or forms or processes to make them faster. So for example, the listing agreement I found was taking a lot longer than I thought it should take. So I did the task. It took me just as long, just to, gather all the little pieces, having to send it out, etc. So now with a listing agreement, I literally go to DocuSign. I use a template. It grabs the information from a form that I put like 5 fields into, and it automatically sends it out for signature. So it literally takes me seconds, and my client receives a copy. Little things like that can save you hundreds of bucks a month on admin staff or your own time doing something else fun. So I use that as an example because everyone might say, well, it only takes me a couple minutes to do a listing agreement. Yeah, but if 15 minutes times 4 listings, right, a month even, you could be doing something else. So make the notes as you go through your day. That's the best way to get started with finding tech tools and analyzing your tech stack, is paying attention to what you're spending your time doing. Even if it seems little, go ahead and make a note of it, and then create a workflow for that. Who here uses Zapier? Anyone?
A little
Zapier.
bit, not as much as I want to.
A little bit. How about you, Chuck? Have you used Zapier at all? Okay, so think of Zapier is basically, when I do this, I want this to happen automatically. That's essentially Zap. So there's a trigger when this happens, and then an action that it takes for you behind the scenes. Just a couple examples that I love to share. Some of these are related to lead stuff. Webinar registrations if you do events, but Mojo Dialer, if anyone's actually using a dialer, that's a really great one. It can actually integrate into your CRM. A lot of technology companies come out and they say, this is the single application that a real estate agent will need to use. It's end-to-end transaction process. Everything's fabulous. But the truth is, we all know that we have all these different little web-based platforms and technology tools that don't talk to each other, and they don't work in of itself, right? We have to use multiple platforms. So Zapier essentially takes one platform, communicates to the other, and actually automates tasks. I love to nerd out on this and get real deep into it. So if any of you ever want to get together in one of my Zapier masterminds, we have a lot of fun. I like to take real life examples and help people get them set up. It's a lot of fun. Did one just last week with about 12 realtors. We had a blast. For example, anybody use Slack or other communication channels? If you were to create a specific task or a specific note in your Slack channel or in your Trello board, you can actually then have it go out and automatically create contacts in your CRM and check to see if that contact's already in your database, update that contact with your call notes, etc. If anyone goes to meetings, if you have team meetings, board meetings, you can distribute meeting minutes and send out action plans, things like that. This is my little example. I did a screenshot of my SkySlope this morning. So again, just an example of how time equals money, and it adds up. All right, so I wanted to get quick into listing presentations. So this is one of my favorite new tools that my team is using. I work with a lot of newer realtors too, kind of like what you had mentioned in the beginning, Jeff, was you learn a lot from teaching. Personally, that's my favorite part of teaching, is that I always learn something new from the group. And working with newer realtors, you can really dig into them focusing on the confidence building when they feel prepared, right? That's when success happens, is preparation meets opportunity. So with listing presentations, it's one of my main focus points with an agent, is going in and just being able to focus on having very authentic conversations, focusing on the quality of the questions they're asking, focusing on building that trust and the rapport, and really showing their real personality. And in order to do so, if you're more prepared when you show up, that part kind of becomes easy. So some of my big data and my favorite tools, I threw AirDNA on here just because I love to make sure every agent's heard of it. AirDNA actually aggregates all the data for VRBO and Airbnb. I use this a lot with my investors, especially or out in the different areas, like in the desert areas, where we're looking at what buyers it might attract. We like to kind of have an idea of what those rates are. But AirDNA is cool. Check it out. You can actually look at vacancies and hot places. Property Radar, I threw on here in case nobody's heard of it. It's a great place to aggregate data for call lists, farms, just to take a real good visual look at different statistics. But jumping into my favorite tool that we're using right now for listings is actually a free tool that we all have had access to. And nationwide, I think it shows up pretty much the same, which is RPR, Does anyone utilizing RPR at all? A little bit? Okay, cool. So if you haven't yet seen the new Market Trends script writer, I actually wanted to take you for a little test drive on this thing. Has anyone used it yet before I jump into it? No? Okay, cool. I'm going to show you this quick tool and actually walk you through it real quick. So basically, RPR, of course, we know has lots of big data. If you're not leveraging big data, it definitely could set you apart. And what we're actually doing is showing up to the listing presentation with a few things already done, but they're done for you. So for example, when you go to the listing appointment and you already have a couple different listing descriptions of the property, and you have your LinkedIn article, you have your Instagram post, your tweet, and all of your different posts are already SEO optimized and already printed out, or in your if you use an iPad or whatever, you don't have to linger on it, but you could show them, oh, by the way, we wanted to make sure we're prepared. So we've actually put together all of our marketing to go live for your listing, which is all being done automatically for you. I'm going to show you this, but keep this other option in mind, which is to also be doing market updates. Is anyone doing market updates on YouTube or Facebook? Okay, cool. So this one's awesome. So I know that we could go into ChatGPT and use that, but what I'm actually going to show you is RPR has a new script writing tool for market updates. Let me show you this guy. There we go. Okay, cool. So it's all you do is go to research, residential market trends. What county are you in, Jeff?
El Paso County.
El Paso County.
Colorado. There you go.
Oh yeah, you're in Colorado.
It popped up there.
It made me think of Texas when I know you're in Colorado.
I think you got that space between Paso and county.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay, so pulled it up here. Now you'll click create script. You could choose the tone, whether you're doing a video script, a social campaign, or you just want to analyze the metrics, who your target audience is. So let's say it's for sellers, and we want to make it. What's that?
Do video script.
Video script, cool. We'll do a video script. So basically, they've integrated ChatGPT to personalize market trends video scripts. You can create social content or really detailed metric analysis. So I put together a little tech stack that you can actually use to create this on a regular basis. So essentially, you'd go here to your RPR. While that's loading, I'll kind of walk you through that. So you'll go through RPR there, it's created it for you. Of course, you're going to want to read it and maybe, change up a few words to put it into your own voice.
This is great. Thank you.
Isn't that cool? Here's one step. I'm going to do you one better though. So we're going to copy this, right? Oops, should say at the end, got my screen blocked with all this stuff. Here we go. So you could send it to yourself by email, or you could just copy it. Right. And then you could go over to ChatGPT. And if you have your prompt ready, you could actually, maybe there's certain things that you already want in your template, and you could enter your prompt. Hi, you've already trained ChatGPT maybe to say, hey, this is my format. Take this script that RPR has created and please put it into my preferred format in my voice. So you could do that as well. The next tool that I love with this is that then you can take this and put this into an app called Captions. So you will open the app and you can read the script, and then you put it into an app called AI Eye Contact. This is kind of going way out there, but this is really cool. So AI Eye Contact will take the video that you've created while you're reading the script. So you read the script just to make it easy and fast, right? And then it will change your eye contact to be looking directly at the camera.
Shut up, girl.
Nuts.
I swear to God.
Ridiculous.
It's so cool. It's really fun. Now, I've seen Kenny Fast and a couple other people at EXP that have now gotten their full like avatar to look exactly like them in video. That's really cool. I haven't played with that yet, so I imagine that's more advanced than this already, but this for me has been good enough. So I'd love to see you all play with that. The next tool is the video.ai. I'm going to switch over to this guy. There we go. So this is your tech stack for the market update or listing videos. Video is one, Opus Clips, OPUS Clips, CLIPS. I just started playing with video, but Opus Clips is pretty good. It could be better, but I think it will continue to get better. Basically what you do is you take a long form content. So you could take, for example, you do a 5-minute video. Some of you may not think that you do long form content very often, but you do talk on the phone a lot to your clients. So imagine if, you were to kind of record some of the stuff you say. For example, when I do trainings like this, I'll do another camera videotaping me on my own end. And then I take that video and I put it into Opus Clips, and it will immediately not immediately, it takes about 10 minutes, but it'll spit out a bunch of videos that are optimized. It'll put the scripts on there. It'll cut them. It'll put your titles for your videos. It'll put SEO hashtags, all the good stuff. It's awesome. So check that one out for sure. So with this tech stack, you could really be pumping out market updates for YouTube, Facebook, or this is what I wanted to talk to you about in terms of the listing presentation, is to actually be sending your prospects videos after you have a conversation with them. Okay, so this is something that will set you apart from any realtor. If you, after you leave or talk to a prospect, so leave an in-person appointment, a Zoom, or you talk to them on the phone, if you are sending them a video, this is going to be helpful when some of your additional automations are, automated and not you actually talking to them, meaning your AI chatbots or your follow-up campaign, rather than them just getting emails and texts and nurturing them with things that are not you. The video is where they're going to feel that you have actually personally followed up with them, and it's actual authentic content, and they get to know you. So when you're following up with them in another way, they don't feel like it's all computer automated. So videos are super important. Just to go back to getting optimized with technology, it can become overwhelming if you start looking at everything that you don't need. So I always start with the one thing, right? For example, I want to get my listing presentation game locked down. I want to have a process. As soon as I have an opportunity, I want to know exactly what I'm preparing, exactly what I'm bringing, exactly how I'm following up. And that way you could stay focused on the most important thing, which is building the relationship with the human being, right? So start with listing presentation is one idea, but avoid the shiny objects. As realtors, how many phone calls, emails do we get with things that are going to change your life and give you 20 leads tomorrow? Just stay focused on the long game. Don't overcomplicate it. There's always somebody out there. If you think it's too big for you, it's not. It's just you're one person away that can help you get it set up for free, or maybe a small charge. And then of course regularly review and refine. I think that's the number one important thing. A lot of coaching clients that I have, what I notice is that sometimes I save them, depending on the scale of what kind of business they're doing, but anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month of things that they're spending their money or their time on, that frees them up a little bit right off the bat. And that is really, do you need all the tools even currently that you're paying for, or is there something free and better that you could be using? So a really good audit, I do mine quarterly. If I haven't used a tool, it's kind of like wearing a suit jacket. If I haven't worn it to, 2 conferences in a row, I'm not going to wear it again. So make sure you're going through the closet, checking out your tech stack and ditching anything that's not working for you. Again, don't be intimidated. Make sure you seek the right people, to help you out. Does anybody want to jump in with something? I kind of went all into that, and let's pull back and kind of check in with you guys. What's interesting? What could we talk more about next? How about you, Chuck? Or Tracy? I know you're not on video, but if you're able to join us by voice. Samantha,
for
Ronnie?
me, Jessica, for me, the area in real estate that I absolutely detest is all the paperwork that I did in the past. And I did spend about several months trying to put together the DocuSign, where when I put in the different the address, the agents, and so forth, the names of the buyers and sellers and so forth, and I had it working pretty well. But that's the area for me that I want to get extremely much better at.
Yeah. And would you say that you're talking about transactional paperwork, disclosures, things like that?
Yes, exactly. Like you were saying, you had templates and DocuSign that you could use. That is my number one area that I would love to never do again.
Yeah. I'll show you a real quick glimpse of what my I'm a little old school in one thing, and it's simply because I do not want to miss something. So what makes me nervous is, even though I use Follow Up Boss, I like my deals on a page that no one can touch or change, but I want the information to be accessible to everyone. So what I actually do is I create a Zapier that every time I make an entry into a spreadsheet, it triggers certain actions. But specifically for lists, I'll show you 2 things. Let me see if I can share this guy. So this is what my business partner is, Brian Brook. So this is our listing sheet. And essentially the way I control the data on the sheet is that there's certain fields in here that only we can change, but then it actually, right. But then, so I know who, I'm picking the title company, the escrow company. I know the seller's name. I put in the APN to make sure it's correct. And then it will actually automate certain tasks that go into Follow Up Boss where my team works.
Interesting. I think she froze again. Kathy, this makes me. Oh, there you go. You're back, Jessica. You froze for just a second.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
You're good. No, you're good. You're back.
Okay,
it makes me
good.
think, Kathy, I was just going to say, like, this whole Zapier thing, like this might be just a thought, and maybe if some of you guys want to chime in, it might be good to have even a good hour-long training on Zapier.
Yep.
And how to use it. I've used it just this much, and it's been a long time, but I mean, those automated things that you can do.
Yep.
I would love that.
Zapier is one of those things where it's a rabbit hole. So it's more fun and more meaningful in my experience when you bring everyone to the table, knowing that you're going to do a Zapier training, and you bring, like, kind of I send out a little deck beforehand and say, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. This is the basics of Zapier. Just so you kind of get the basic things, and then come to the table with a problem or, a task, so that we can just get it done. Those are my favorite type, the get shit done meetings, right? So that's a lot of fun. But with Zapier, what I've found is it's limitless. We were talking about now everybody has forms different in every state. So, for example, in California, they're very different than Oregon or Arizona. But what I actually started with is mapping out, and this takes a little time, but I mapped out an Adobe PDF version of our forms. And then we update this, make sure that anytime an update comes out, of course, we update it. But what I did was I mapped out the form so that I have a cover page. And on the cover page, because I do a lot of distressed properties, I'll type in the details that come from, or my admin will type in the details that I put into the spreadsheet that are pertinent info. And it will auto fill out the entire PDF. That right there for me is where I got started. And then one better is using DocuSign essentially works the same way. So DocuSign can map with custom fields, and those custom fields are what get pulled from somewhere else, if that makes sense. But you can go crazy with that stuff. So we could spend a lot of time doing it. But essentially, that's where I've really been able to find some success in taking a lot of the weight of the extra little steps off my team. One thing that puts this in perspective, I think, for anyone is that
Ruh-roh.
She's frozen up.
She was serious too. She was coming.
I have to put them into, am I frozen? No?
You were, but you're
You
back.
worry. We
Oh,
lost you for
boy.
about 20 seconds.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me speed it up. So when you're busy and the market is crazy and deals are getting handed to you, you could keep your team busy all day doing administrative tasks, and financially it makes sense. But when that changes, you have to I don't like to get rid, I don't like to fire people. I want to make sure I can continue to pay them. So I have to cross train them on money making activities. And that's what my team's currently doing. Right. And so I don't want to spend all of my time or their time doing paperwork. I want to make sure that they're doing money making activities and prospecting for me. Let me go back into this little guy. So the answer to your question, Chuck, is that it's all possible, but it would probably take about, an hour or two for you to take the time to really write out what those tasks are. And then you could get together with a coach or a trainer or a tech person and have them help you make a process that works for you. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck in implementation, is that you go and learn something that sounds amazing, but then when it comes down to customizing it for your business and your process, that's where you get stuck, because it's not always a one size fits all. So for me, it's about getting on that calendar, saying these 4 hours of this week, I am going to spend making sure I get this done, and getting the right people around you to get it done. Does anyone else that hasn't come on camera, I'm assuming you're all are driving or in your PJs, which is fine with me, but if you want to pipe in with your voice, please do, with any questions or just anything tech that has you stuck.
I may have a solution real quick on writing offers, at least initially in the front end. He's talking about, Chuck was, there's a company called Jointly. Have you guys ever talked about Jointly?
Jointly.
Yeah.
I don't use Jointly. Now, writing offers is definitely also a template worthy task. We've written in times writing offers, like many offers for investment properties. The offer writing process is definitely something that you could do with DocuSign as well. You can also use, what MLS, does anyone else in California? Kevin, you're in California.
I am.
Yeah, there's a lot of offer management systems. The problem that I've found with offer management, receiving offers or writing offers, is that sometimes you have a listing agent that doesn't want to adopt whatever process you're using. So I still feel that, number one, follow the rules that they've created. So if they want you to write it through Glide, write it through Glide, but that's very few and far between. If they want you to enter it into their offer management system, do it. But it still all usually requires writing an offer and getting it into someone's inbox. So we like to just do it through DocuSign. You know, it turns out pretty good and it's templated and our client can sign them, and that's just the easiest way. One thing I train my agents on too, if you guys have a team, is that I make sure that the realtors have actually already written an offer as if they're the buyer. Of course, it comes down to training, but then also to have them go through an offer in the beginning of the buyer stage. So not when they're finally writing an offer, but prior to writing an offer. So the buyer feels comfortable, so that way, when you're ready to write an offer, you can just spit it out and it's already done and they can copy my templates. So what other paperwork, Chuck, can you think of that slows you down?
Yeah, that I was in real estate from 2004 to 2012. And so I got back in 2020, spent a lot of time with DocuSign, setting it up. And long story short, the brokerage I was with before started changing documents, which made all my work useless. Now with EXP, then I now know I can go and I know it will be the same documents that I'll be using. So I haven't even began to go through those documents again on the listing presentation. I'm good with, but all the signed documents that I've got to go back and recreate again.
Yeah, I would say too, if it makes sense for you until it doesn't, is to hire a TC that your team already utilizes, that you know does a really good job. And I would just go through the whole required list of forms maybe one time so that you can explain them, but otherwise I wouldn't even touch them, in my opinion. Getting all that stuff done is a ton. So yeah. Sean, what type of niche of business are you in? Looks like you're doing video with see some tools there.
I do a lot of podcasts and videos. I do a lot of interviewing regularly. So that's where I spend a lot of my extra video marketing time. Investors is probably 60% of my business, because I spent quite a bit of time in the investment world. But, I'll work a referral here and there, that know me by name. I don't work with people I don't know. I refer that out just personally. It's kind of my business model. Yeah, I'm real, because I have a particular way I do things. Like, I don't leave my office. So that doesn't work for all clients. Some people like hand holding and touching, and I'm not trying to hide from anyone, but I make more money for everybody if I just stay in my office.
100%. That's why EXP made perfect sense for us. Yeah, same here. In fact, I've learned that as tough, it's been tough for me to work with the really young generation. That was a challenge for me that I had to get better at. I needed to learn a little bit more about them. But one thing I've learned about them is they don't mind working remotely. They don't mind if they never meet me in person. They don't like to be called. They like to text. It's interesting when you learn about, different generations and or different people that you could serve. For me personally, it's been investors. And again, yeah, referring out. For your referral process, Sean, that's another one that I love in DocuSign using Zapier. Is every time my CRM can create some type of referral, or a referral comes in, it can automate that entire referral process and send everybody the DocuSign, which is really nice if they're not in EXP, if they're external.
Can I give a couple of points to what you're saying? Just real quick. One is, as far as a contract to close coordinator, or CTC, or admin, I've had one for years. I've got one that works exclusively for me, and I do 3 times the work just because she's so good at what she does.
Yep.
So, and that's a real hard thing to kind of get into. I think at a minimum, you touched on the initial part with the sticking houses contract from start to finish. That's a real good component. You can take care of the offer time. Most CTCs don't want to deal with that. That's why Jointly is an option for that. You can actually make offers through your app. But from there, getting it all the way to finish, having someone following up, like Jessica's got a very extensive spreadsheet. That's their responsibilities of following up and taking care of all that if they're really good. Real hard to find that person. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's taken me a long time, but I landed on someone that's exceptionally good and will never get into real estate, but loves doing the back office stuff. So she won't ever compete with me. The second thing I was going to share, and you talked about, I worked in HR for years, and there's a thing about transferring tasks, not responsibilities, right? So there may be components of your business that you really enjoy, you want to do, but they may take hours. Maybe you like going out and talking to everybody and sitting in new build open houses. You don't make much money on it. If we're trying to find things that increase our hourly wage, I'd be wary doing things just because you like doing them. Unless you just want a business exclusively on things you like to do, then maybe we're not trying to maximize efficiency or maximize return. And that's okay. Not everybody, is out here to be rich, but it's just something to keep in mind. We want to delegate tasks and then manage the actual responsibility, because that's how our business should run. If we treat it like a business. Just a few points of things that I've kind of worked through and thought about. I talk about a lot of these things in my podcast and stuff as well. So anyway, I just want to throw those nuggets out there.
It's good.
Yeah, those are great.
It reminds me too, and you said this at the very beginning, Jessica, and again, something I want to talk to my wife about, because we've been talking about hiring, like our daughter helps us with some of our admin stuff, whatever. We've been talking about possibly hiring a VA, down the road. We that comes up every now and then when we get super busy, but it's that whole idea of having to train them. But you mentioned like with Loom, I need to talk to my wife, because I could sit here like as our daughter's putting our listings on the MLS for us, this kind of stuff. Like just let my wife record it one time on Loom, her actually doing it. And now you've got this thing that you can hang on to and give to a VA to teach them how to do it, to, whatever. I don't know, simple idea, but it's something I never thought about doing. Like just record it once and now you've got it. All these different things that we do, uploading things to SkySlope, just record it and talk your way through it, so that you're things you can do. And like Sean, even with you, like just in terms of just being able to train people to do some of those tasks that, because training can just be overwhelming in itself, like I don't have time to train these people. So just do it one time and record it. Now give them the recording, and then just, that cuts that way down.
And to that point, it's so valuable and worth it to take the time to train people. Don't try to speed that up. If you train people really well and they feel confident, it's been easier for me at times to train people because I'm able to batch so much of it at once that they do it repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And it's a value to me. That's been great. But I like to say that, if I can pay the person that's working for me because they leave to train my other person, and then I have the library of tools. And so that's another thing I would do, is I'd actually have that admin person do Loom videos of their tasks as well. And I would pay them for their time to do that. And then we have a whole library. It's another great way if you're doing agent attraction or recruiting to whatever company you're at, is to record some of those processes so that you have a little link to library. The one thing we didn't talk about too much was, passive prospecting. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd with that stuff, but I'm not the expert as some of people that might be in your market or at EXP, for example, that are like Travis Plum and those guys that do the passive. They just wrote a book actually about the passive prospecting. YouTube is where it's at. So, Sean, you've gotten stuff automated. If you're able to just spend your time doing podcasting, video, and marketing for your business and nothing else, that should be enough to become successful in real estate. And everything else could be done for you, either by technology or another human being that will be grateful for a job. And it makes sense to pay them because you're able to do more production. So I think it's Haas Pratt that says it's like this business is marketing based and prospecting based and marketing enhanced. And that's all we should spend our time doing. And when new agents come and work with me, that's what I have them do. They take a couple little trainings or peppered into their weeks. And other than that, they do 2.5 hours of work a day. And if they can't completely commit to 8 hours of work a day, and they only do the 2.5 hours without distractions, they become successful within weeks. They have deals in their pipeline. That's the truth. And we all want to find an easy way out. But the bottom line is if you're doing your prospecting for 2.5 to 3 hours a day for whatever you're trying to sell or achieve, you will find results. Who else agrees with me? Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. So don't, make time for these tech things and have fun with it. I would say have fun with it. So number one is do an audit. I'd invite you guys to share that or follow up with me. If you want to follow me on Facebook, that would be awesome. It's Jessica Nieto. If you want to throw your Facebook or Instagram here in the chat, I'll follow you back. And who's going to EXPCon? Anyone? Awesome. You see me there, Jeff. I'm going to speak at EXPCon, so I'm excited to be there.
Nice.
Leaving
How much
Sunday.
are you using, Jessica? Let me just ask real quick. You mentioned, you showed us some things with AI. How deep have you gotten into that so far? I mean, is it
so I love large language models, right? I mean, ChatGPT is just one of them. I prefer and use ChatGPT on a daily basis. I actually have one of my admins. She helps me with blog writing content for my website. I've just started doing video. That's the absolute truth. I work with a lot of clients that do video every day. So I feel like I know more than you could see me online doing. But I utilize it for all of those things. So the internet is changing, right? It's not going to be going to Google to find an answer anymore. It just isn't going to work that way. And people are going to ask questions online, and the people that have put in answers into the world, into the computer, those are the answers that are going to pop up. So you want to be one of the people that is providing answers to people's questions. Mm-hmm. And you could do that in many ways. One is, of course, blog writing, but two is video. Video is the number one. So, I mean, if you don't want to do video, I would say, you're not too far away. You're maybe a couple conversations away from a coach or a mentor in talking through why you're not doing video. If you go onto YouTube and look at who's doing video, people dominate it because there's not enough people doing it. So what I use it for is to create frameworks. I use it like that all the time. For example, if I want to do a training on Zapier, I don't want to go through and manually write out all of the different basic, getting to know Zapier things or examples, but I do want to go through and refine it and put in my own stuff, my own examples or stories, etc. But I could create a whole framework and a 10-minute training with a framework and intro, examples, and slides, all within ChatGPT. I'll mention this so that you all go and play with it. On ChatGPT, if you do the paid version, which is $20 a month, I use it enough to where that absolutely makes sense, is enabled plugins. So enabled plugins will allow you to actually upload a video. So rather than watching a 30-minute YouTube video, you could upload it and say, hey, can you check out this link and please write out all of the points or the main points or highlights of this video, or put it into a study guide for me, the step processes that this guy takes to do this. You put that in and boom, it'll spit it out. So things like that. It can also reference web pages. I use it to analyze documents from my end. So I can say, hey, take a look at this document in this Google Drive folder and, answer these questions for me. What is X? So those are a couple silly examples that I use it for on a daily basis.
It can be overwhelming to try and keep up, because next week, stuff we're using this week will be irrelevant next week, and there'll be new stuff. I mean, that's where it gets overwhelming sometimes. But again, not to let it go there, I guess. You
just got to focus on your goal and go right back to the reverse engineering. What are you trying to achieve? And then how do I get there, and break it all the way down to what do I do right now? Right. I'm trying to get 10 listings in the next 3 months. Okay, how many appointments, this, that, and the other. And then you could start, you see exactly right in front of you, this is what I have to spend my time every day doing. And you say, well, what do I have to sacrifice, give up, or compromise on? And it's like, well, all these things keep me from doing that every day. How do I fix them? And then fix those. So it was fun hanging out with you all. Patricia, Samantha, Christina, Paul, sorry we couldn't see your faces today, but I'm glad you're here.
Thanks so much. That was really, really useful, and I hope to run into you somewhere in the Valley.
Yeah, or give me a call. I'm sort of like Sean. You'll probably never ever see me in the Valley. I haven't seen a house I've sold for a couple of years, but
Well, that's an ambition. Yeah, I'm new to California, so I'm only here a year. So
where are you from?
New Jersey.
Oh,
So,
cool.
We moved here for a granddaughter, and so we're living the dream in California.
Do you know John and Simon Westfall Kwong?
I do not.
Okay, they have the Lux Life Real Estate Group in New Jersey. They'll be at EXPCon. Yeah, they just joined EXP.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some traction here and get as many ideas as possible. And I really appreciate these webinars and speakers like you. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. And there's so much market share in the Valley. So always have properties that you can market or open houses, it's funny, as a new realtor, if you come into this business and you try to chase down all these different ideas, you can lose months and months of time. I think right now the key is to focus on relationships and the sphere that you already have and the people those people know. That's where everybody's getting the best results.
Yeah, I hooked into the music industry here, where my wife and I are musicians, so we're able to be part of the Tarzana music scene and the the West LA area. So there's a lot happening here. Yeah,
no, there's so much to do, and people really they're looking for connection right now too, and they want they need to be able to trust the person that's telling them to buy a house right now with high interest rates. So they need people to be creative and strategy, and so any bit of that focus that you can add into all the conversations you have will definitely make a difference. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Jessica, can you do me a favor when we're done here? And if you don't have my email, I'll get in touch with you. But if you could email me like either the slide deck or a couple of those slides that had all those websites on there, that'd be great. I could post those 100%. Up because we'll post this recording in the workplace group here in just a few minutes. And then what was I going to ask you also? So, I know. Just a quick reminder, everybody, tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, we do have a special Wednesday event that we're doing with Russ Legan. Now this is for those who are interested in attracting agents. He's got a whole thing that he does on how he does it. He's got some amazing systems that he's used to do that. So, it's outside of our normal Monday attraction training that we do, but we are doing that tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time, same Zoom link. So just a reminder of that as well. We will not be here next week because of EXPCon. No Zoom masterminds of any kind next week. We'll all be out there, a lot of us, but we will kick it in the following week. The new schedule will be out next week, the new calendar. So we'll have that together. Kathy, anything else you want to add before we go?
I'm good.
I love Russ.
Russ is awesome. Yeah, tomorrow, and I've heard that what he's going to do tomorrow, it's phenomenal. I mean, that's why I reached out to him, like, man, you got to share this with our group. So really, really good stuff. So it'll be good. Guys, have a great day. Jessica, thank you so much. Okay. Totally appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. We'll see y'all soon.
Great stuff.
Reach out, Chuck, anytime. Kevin, reach out. You got my Facebook.
I will. Yeah, I followed you.